freedom of belief does not mean freedom to cause cruel and brutal pain.
This debate allows us to directly address some of the myths that pervade this conversation, and also speak honestly about the implications it has for our Jewish and Muslim communities. Let us start with the myths. Everyone here today believes in improving animal welfare, and you've heard that time and time and time again. And I want to acknowledge the really strong and right feelings of all of those who signed the petition. We are right to be proud of our reputation as a nation of animal lovers. And proponents of moves to ban what they call non-stun slaughter argue that it is more humane. Their advocacy conjures up pictures of animals gently and humanely put to sleep, shielded from suffering. Well, Mr. Chairman, I'm afraid to say that reality does not always conform. Always conform to this comforting image. As we have heard, modern industrial methods of stunning often involve significant distress and suffering. Animals are suffocated, slowly asphyxiated under carbon dioxide gas. They are electrocuted by having metal tongs placed around their heads, or maybe even placed upside down and dipped in baths of electrified water. As we have heard, captive bolts are also used. These processes are not used to minimize pain, but to maximize economic efficiency. They still entail significant suffering, and it is not clear at all that they involve less suffering than traditional forms of ritual slaughter used in the Muslim and Jewish communities. For instance, evidence suggests that animals undergoing kosher or halal slaughter often rapidly lose consciousness. For instance, a recent peer-reviewed report in the Journal of the American Veterinary Medical Association suggests that consciousness in the case of kosher slaughter is lost within 10 seconds. Both Jewish and Muslim traditions emphasize the compassionate and humane treatment of animals. The focus on using factory methods of meat production will not reduce the suffering for individual animals, and it will not reduce the suffering of animals we consume overall. Kosher slaughter accounts for less than 0.5% of all animals slaughtered in the UK. That is just 1 in 200. So-called non-stun halal slaughter accounts for merely 2.6%. 97% of animals are unaffected. If we are serious about improving animal welfare, we should focus on how that 97% is treated throughout their lives, not how the 3% meets their end. Banning traditional slaughter or severely curtailing it will not help animal welfare, but it will hugely impact the Jewish and Muslim communities. This brings us to the implications for those communities. And here, Mr. Chairman, I need to declare an interest of sorts. Just like colleagues and honourable friends have declared that they keep halal, so I am Jewish and I only eat kosher meat. And I am proud to represent large Jewish and Muslim populations in my Hendon community. And I say to the proponents of a ban that keeping the rules of kashrus or halal is not some minor technical issue for observant Jews and Muslims. It is absolutely at the core of our religious practice. To be an observant Jew is to keep kosher. To be an observant Muslim is to honor halal and avoid that which is haram. Banning or restricting halal and kosher meat will strike at the core of religious freedom for Jews and Muslims. It is an affront to the principles of religious liberty upon which this country is so proudly built. It will essentially deny Jews and Muslims the right to practice their religion in our country in the way that they see fit. And proponents of the ban, and we've heard this today, respectfully have no answer to this argument. They can't tell us what they would expect Jews and Muslims who wish to be observant would do. They need to be honest about what a ban really means for their Jewish and Muslim friends, colleagues, and neighbours. Now, I know that some proponents have suggested not banning kosher and halal slaughter, but rather labelling all kosher and halal meats as non-stun. But I say to them, at a time when anti-Semitism had reached record levels and Islamophobia has also risen dramatically, labelling meat prepared for the Jewish and Muslim communities as inherently cruel is not only inaccurate, but will only feed the fires of prejudice. But of course, Mr. Chairman, for some people in today's debate, that is, unfortunately, the whole point. And this is where we need to come to some honesty. The vast, vast majority of people engaged in this debate are doing so in good faith. But a very small number of people in this debate aren't interested in animal rights or in compassion in farming. They're not interested in food standards. They are only interested in division. In France and other countries, the far right has used this issue to stir up hatred against minorities. We must not allow it to be used as a weapon to sow the seeds of division between our communities here. We must not allow those who seek to undermine the essentially, quintessentially British value of tolerance. The British answer is to maximize animal rights while protecting religious freedom. Banning that slaughter is fundamentally un-British. Mr. Chair, animal welfare is of critical importance, and I endorse all moves to enhance it. But so is religious freedom. Banning kosher and halal slaughter will not improve welfare. There are other measures that will achieve that far more effectively, and they should be taken. However, it will curtail the fundamental religious freedoms of my Jewish and Muslim constituents in Hendon. And I also fear it may feed a rising tide of prejudice. So I would urge everyone who cares for our communities and who cares for animal rights as well to join me in rejecting the calls for this divisive ban. Thank you.